Craig and Ange, they talk about anime, they scream and shout on shows you've never seen or heard. They're all awesome, please take their word. This cast ain't all it seems to be, between just you and me. Guess it's all an anime daydream.
And hello.
I don't know.
This is where we'd put the real theme song.
If we had a theme song,
We'll see what we can do.
if anybody wants to make one.
If anyone wants me to scat some more, you brace yourselves.
Yeah, I really don't think so.
Daydream. Daydream.
Anyway, in case you didn't already know, this is Anime Daydream.
Anime. Daydream. That's the one.
What was the long pause for?
Drama. So you know.
As if we need drama with you.
So vicariously, it was for your mama. For your adoration of drama.
Hope that's it, amount. I hope you guys enjoyed this minute podcast.
The door is locked.
There has to be a key.
Nonsense.
Every story has a key.
Not this story.
Oh, I see what you did there.
That brilliant segue by kidnapping you. But yeah, we've been reviewing obscure animes. We are going to do the same again.
Again.
We might find out. Well, we might also review popular ones while we're reviewing obscure ones. Probably not intentionally. Our big goal here is the rare gems, the shinies.
Shinies, yeah, right.
The star beetles. I mean, this one, I'm not against this one. I will lead with that.
Yeah, this one was not so bad.
It was
compared to the other ones we've been doing lately.
Yeah, we've been kind of on an uphill, I think, for the series recently. But because you wanted to pass on Chibi Apocalypse, and you were pretty alright with My Daddy is a Kaiju.
Yeah, that one was decent, but Chibi Apocalypse just didn't get fleshed out enough.
Yes, but Azu might be a favorite so far. That'd be fair to say.
I guess out of all the ones so far.
Let's see. What's your one sentence summary of? Hey, what's the show like?
Azu,
yeah. OZU.
There's no place like home. Because you're
a little bit on the nose, but
yeah, because you're gonna hear that again and again and again
and
again.
Not just in the ending, which clicks your heels. But yeah, this is what seems to be the shonen version of Wizard of Oz. In the sense of American McGee is the goth, or Alice. American McGee's Alice is the goth version of Alice in Wonderland. I've been looking around. There's been a couple of Wizard of Oz animes already, but
yeah. In case you didn't get the hint from Azu, this is based off the book / movie Wizard of Oz.
Literally, it's got like a Dorothy and a cowboy line,
and it has nothing to do with the 1980s Wizard of Oz Japanese anime, which we also found out exists recently.
Yeah, when we were looking around,
I have no idea how that is.
Yeah, we were looking around. There was like Maho Sensei Azu or whatever, the just straight up Wizard of Oz cartoons, like which there have been many of. I remember a Saturday morning version of it that I watched. I not like intentionally watched. I just happened to be on once in a while, and I'm like, whatever, I'm up. And it was basically, what if the fucking story was 200 years longer?
Yeah,
and they're solving everybody's problems in 90s cartoon style.
Yeah, it definitely looks a lot better. Than the 1980s one.
This was like not Vampire D, but there was like a movie that became a series. I think it was called like Blood or Blood the Last Vampire or something. That they got.
I mean, I know there's that, but I never seen it.
It's just like like hardcore.
You don't mean Helsing, do you?
No, little bit of that kind of style where it's like real dark. It's not like bloody, but there's like splashes of things. But let's backtrack. Let's get the story down, I guess.
Yeah, I guess let's start from the beginning.
How is this not Wizard of Oz from step one?
What do you mean? It definitely is.
How is Dorothy not a little American girl in Kansas in a black and white film getting
It's definitely not Kansas. It's just kind of
picked up by a tornado.
It's just kind of an obscure Japanese town. She lives on a farm and she knows kendo from her grandparents and just lives with them and harvests stuff off the farm and that kind of stuff.
I can say there's your good, 5 differences there. In particular, you might recall that Dorothy lived with her auntie and Uncle M, and they were both named M. But, I don't remember what her uncle's name was. I want to say Oscar, but I was thinking of something from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory from my other books I didn't read but watched the movie of. So therefore, I'm civilized. But yeah, her grandpa's an old kendo man. She has to walk super far between.
I.e., just like your parents say, they had to walk 2 miles in the snow type deal.
Yeah, just because there aren't schools by her farmhouse, and she's got to walk real long ways, and she's got those. So she's in her school uniform all the time because she has to go too far to do much of the farm work. But we don't even see a lot of that. We don't get like a half an episode of actual like.
Yeah, we just get a brief of her doing it. Instead of a dog, she also has a black cat. I guess because, Japan doesn't like dogs.
And school uniform instead of their classic blue apron dress farm suit thing.
It's still blue on the school uniform, though.
Yeah, similar color. Red shoes as just a nod more than anything, I guess. But, we get little snippets of her, like, I'm back in the farm kind of moments when she's on the, spoiler, she goes to Oz.
But do you remember in the actual movie, Greg, where there was that wizard dude in the beginning? In the cart?
The old con man, yeah, the fake psychic, right?
Right. For this one, wasn't it somebody trying to buy her grandparents' farm or something?
He was kind of a bundle of both, like, the witch and the wizard role, I felt like. Oh, not the witch and the wizard, the bitchy teacher and the old con man who's... he's kind of like a charmingly bumbling idiot, but he's also like, I'm from the fucking bank. We want this land, and we're gonna make a city. And the grand folks like, nope, farm and rice. Get off our dicks. And he like fell into a puddle on his way out. And he's like, you'll hear from me. And,
yeah.
And she's gonna watch them. Like she didn't give a fuck. Like Dorothy was like vaguely amused by a lot of things at first. Kind of a quiet character throughout.
Yeah, that'd be fair to say.
Yeah, she gets significantly more hardcore when the flood comes.
Yeah, spoilers, it's not a tornado this time, it's a tsunami, to be topical.
I think there was like a...
Because I don't even know if they can have tornadoes in Japan. I don't know.
They're not really mountainous, are they?
The Mount Fuji.
I mean, some parts do, but
I don't know how many grassy plains.
That would be the place to be for tornadoes. But there was like an episode or two that had. This is pretty modern given the style. I think I didn't really see a date on it, but
yeah, probably early 2000s.
Maybe near the like mid or late 2000s. But there was a little like texting that went across that was like I didn't translate it. Like before certain episodes, I felt like it didn't seem like the usual like Fuji TV is a sponsor, and I suspect that was like a respect to the tsunami survivor kind of things. Like we don't mean any offense, it's just a thing. It's in the memory.
Yeah. So anyway, the tsunami happens, wackiness ensues, everybody...
Wackiness is a strong word for a tsunami.
Yeah, but...
Or rather, a light word.
Yeah, but you know how the tornado was in the Dorothy movie. It was kind of like cheesy, and the houses were just going on. That's kind of what happened here with the tsunami.
It was a bit of a Ponyo scene, like, in the sense of that was a flood, where everyone was like, fuck it, get in the boat, but like... Yeah, she goes underwater and like...
Yeah, that's what her grandparents did, got in the boat, so they're square, but...
Yeah, she sees like people in boats floating by her and like weird trippy visions, and fish almost eats her somehow, and she's like, the fuck? And she gets out and she's like in the ocean and not next to Japan, by what you can tell, because she's in fucking Oz, and...
Yeah, congrats.
Achievement unlocked. But, apart from being like green, which I don't think was the original. Yeah, she gets to this like green metropolis of a place, and
Kind of like those big Japanese fancy houses that have like the gold on them instead it had like the green on them, like green bricks.
Yeah, there was a lot of like fancy design, if a little bit run down.
And like green dragons and things.
Yeah, kind of a Chinese ruin temple castle kind of thing.
Yeah.
But old and beat up, and as she goes in there, that's where she has her first run with the Munchkins.
Yeah, and they're little like kind of ninja people.
They're kind of gremlin-y too. Like they didn't seem properly human with like the claws and stuff behind them.
Yeah, they're kind of stealthy, so that's why I thought they're like ninja people.
Yeah, so she runs from that, and that's when she goes and hides in a farm, I assume because she thinks it looks familiar, and that's when she falls into the falls on like some kind of an old hole or a tunnel that covered up by the old grains or something. And it seems like an empty cave, and that's where she starts finding the magical shit, like the helpful magical shit.
And that's where she sees a wand on the ground, a little bit fancier than the wand in actual Wizard of Oz. But as soon as she waves it, lo and behold, we get our magical girl sequence, which Japan.
Yeah, because not Dorothy. She's. You keep thinking it, but she does not go magical girl in this series. She goes hardcore samurai eventually. But that wakes up
the good witch.
Grenda, yeah.
Yeah.
She has the subtitles, I think, call different things at various times, the L and the R issue. But yeah, she pops up and she uses like bubble magic and blows away all the incoming Munchkin ninjas. Because the bubbles like float out like la 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 la, little pink bubbles like explode like grenades of force, and it's like throw them away. And then she explains to Dorothy, outsiders aren't welcomed by most people here, and she has to find the wizard to get her way home, which isn't so surprising there. But to get that information, she makes Dorothy fight her. Like, well, she says like, "Oh, you have to go find the wizard." He's like, "I know how you can get there." She's like, "Well, how?" And she's like, "You must do battle." And flies up and gets bubbly on her.
That scene was kind of cool.
Yeah, the bubbles were trippy looking. Like they had like weird, like little bit of CG neon glitter shit going on.
Yeah, but it was pretty easy because Glinda just uses her little wand magic and poofs out stars and stuff. But Dorothy just kind of karate kicks him out of the way and gets real close to her in the battle. Just stops
Glinda
there.
the Good Witch does not have melee game.
Yeah.
She is a blaster type character, but then she gets the whole she gets the broken pitchfork and like gets the wooden half and kendo sticks her with it.
Yep.
And then she's like, "Oh, all right, we need the 3 guardians and their weapons," and that kind of becomes the crux of our series as she kind of samurai jacks her way across the yellow brick road, as she points it down, and which is
the yellow brick broke in this sense, but it was green bricks this time. So,
all right, yeah. I think it was yellow, like a misprint once, and somebody was like, "Fucking don't," and they changed it back in like the next scene.
Yeah. So as per tradition, the first person she meets is Scarecrow, which is an immediate difference because spoiler: Scarecrow in this one is a woman.
Yeah, he kind of have a ragdoll waifu thing going on, which
like kind of like Raggedy Ann, I guess.
Yeah, but like the side of the ragdoll too. I think I'm more that way. But
this is probably going to be fetish fuel, if not already.
I'm sure there's a stuffed animal.
There has to be somewhere on the internet.
Woman, like,
Scarecrow woman.
Someone wants to fuck solid ragdoll. I am sure of it. There's enough emos out there, but
yeah. So we meet Scarecrow-chan.
She does have
she's your ditzy girl character, kind of like a Valley Girl character.
She also had like too much like cloth to her that gave her kind of a you probably don't recognize them so much because it's more of a particular branch of the 4J thing, but spooky waifu bill where like
I don't know.
She had like what's his name, the Hellboy guy. I think he also did Pacific Rim. The guy who does monster shit. Hands Labyrinth looking.
Yeah.
Had like still arm
Del Toro,
yeah, something like that. Yeah, she had kind of a weird Silent Hill-y lumbery move like a spider, and was just asking her a lot of questions, and a lot of them were nonsense, kind of Cheshire catting her until
and contorting in weird ways and stuff.
Yeah, until she's so best waifu. Ditzy bimbo ragdoll waifu with flexibility. But yeah, then she's finally like, look, do you have the weapon? And she's like, oh, I am the weapon. And they kung fu fight. And
yeah, naturally. Every one of these people she meets, she kung fu fights. Spoiler.
It reminded me a lot of Samurai Jack in ways, because she's like, I'm just trying to get this place broad. Just don't give me shit. And I was like, I'll give you shit, outsider. And yeah, shit goes down. She manages to chop up enough of her that it just keeps going back together. Well, we're going a little bit slow this week in terms of details, but it's a reasonably long series. It had, what, 2 seasons worth, was it?
Yeah, it aired for half a year, so...
that would be it. Like, I assume 6 months apart or whatever. But, yeah, it goes on for a while, but this is the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Just because those are what, like, spur everything else. Yeah, she beats the Scarecrow, finally gets past all the limbs to get the head off, and it's like, oh, very well, I gave you the powers of straw, and gives her, like, and poofs away and becomes, like, a strain of straw that she used to summon that weapon.
She comes back, though, so...
Yeah, she's got, like, one of those talking elements kind of things. She can appear for brief times, usually as, like, a punch ghost kind of thing, just to Yoda over her shoulder and be useless. She has moments, though, where she, like, asks a dumb question at the right time. Or it's like, why are we hurting this guy? Because he's invisible. Oh, he's invisible. Or whatever. Yeah, then she moves along, and she finds the lumber mill. That's where the Tin Man lives. Do they ever call him anything but Tin Man, or...?
I don't think so, but probably a nickname for him would be like Bushido Man, because it's all that classic Japanese samurai armor.
He had a Shogun armor thing going on with his general, like, robot build. Tin was just... then she starts using straw, which is just, like, her magic word / nickname for the Scarecrow lady, I guess. But, I guess Scarecrow's be the gender. I'm not judging. But, for some reason, I thought it was like snowman, and it was a gender particular word. I'm like, that's offensive. Wait, you're being offensive by not. But yeah, it turns out straw can become her samurai sword, like a big old katana.
And tin kind of becomes like her armor.
Yeah, he almost like a real thick mech, but like with open spots. So she still got her schoolgirl uniform, which gets progressively like beat the fuck up, and her shoes are all tattered, so she looks kind of real hardcore woman samurai by the end, but with like bits of her apron tied up around her.
Yeah, and
did the cat even show up? Did the cat end up in Oz, or did he kind of just be like
Yeah, he did. He walks beside her. He didn't really do much like the dog.
Yeah, he kind of just comes and goes as he needs to. But what was it?
But the cat scared the lion when we saw him.
Yeah. Once she beats him and he like cat bops her and he's like, oh, I surrender. Like then he stops being a badass like he was. Yeah, she fights Tin, and he's got steam blasty powers out of his little vents and stuff. But she's the straw and does that like, aha, you're not hurting me at all thing. But she's like whacking the bolts at certain angles, so he kind of like falls apart in the end. She gets out his metal heart, and which looks like a weird like anatomical heart made of metal that shoots steam once in a while and drips oil.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and that just she goes tin and she gets the robot armor. She wants that. Then she has to go into the woods where the green path goes. What did they call the path anyway? It wasn't Yellow Brick Road. I think Glenda always said it was at the beginning, and I wasn't quite committed in the early parts, so I missed a few bits sometimes.
I think it was just called the Green Brick Road.
Yeah, they kind of
wasn't
changed,
much of a difference.
They just changed some things in it.
Yeah. And now we finally get up to the lion, which, unlike the movie, but I think like the book was an actual lion, and not like, what are the things called when they stand on 2 legs?
Anthropomorphic?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so just a regular lion.
I think the book he was just a lion, like he wasn't carrying guns like in the movie. Do you remember that bit?
Mm-mm.
He had a pistol when they went to when they first went to get the witch. Like they had Tin had axe and someone had a gun and someone had like a hammer. I think it was.
Was that cut out?
No, he had it. You just saw them like tiptoeing around. He never used it for shit because then the monkeys show up and they're like, "Oh my god!" and like immediately get fucked up. I mean, in the book, they did shit where, like, the Scarecrow was breaking people's necks. So.
Oh, yeah, the book was different.
Yeah, definitely. Like, more hardcore at parts. And, I have one friend who's Eli, who's really into the Wizard of Oz stuff. He read a ton of the books and stuff. But there was I read on the Oz Wikipedia when I was running a game that referenced Oz at one point. There was an entry that was like, "Oh, like it's been stated that no one can die in Oz. Like they could be melted and they can be eaten and stuff like that, but they don't actually die. They're just alive in whatever state they're in." And Eli was like, "That's bullshit." We've had references to people dying. It's just that when the brothers came along, or his sons or whatever, adopted this series and made more shittier books, they tacked that on at the end, and he's like, rolling in this grave. Okay. But anyway.
But yeah, Lion's regular lion. He doesn't talk. He just kind of meows and...
He roars.
Well, yeah, and I meant like the other cat kind of talks to him, and the Dorothy kind of talks to the cat, which talks to the lion. So that's what the cat's use is for.
Well, the cat can talk is a point worth mentioning now that they get to Oz.
Oh yeah, the cat can all of a sudden talk.
Kind of like for a while too. It's not till we see the lion. Yeah, it's like meow, 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 meow. And she's like, "What are you two doing?" And the cat says, "I can speak." I'm like,
yeah, kind of like a Sabrina the Teenage Witch moment there. It was a little bit weird.
And he wanted lasagna, so that was a special. No, like, I'm bullshitting that one. Why would we make things up on the show? That's not our thing. Yeah, but the lions, like, mostly was just, like, roaring at her. It was, like, blowing her back when she was trying to fight it, and didn't actually, like, hit her. And as soon as she got close, it just surrendered, and she's like, "The fuck?" And that's kind of its main thing. It is her shield.
Yep.
When it transforms into lion. When she says lion. Or Ryle?
It's kind of like one of those just British house symbols of a lion on the shield.
Yeah, it's very, isn't Reinhardt on have like a lion chest plate?
Overwatch, yeah.
It reminded me of that a lot. It was just a real big, clunky lion shield that she like swung around like whatever.
Yep. But, so our mecha girl has been created.
Basically, she has like her kawaii ass, badass face and general chest area, and most of her legs. But yeah, she's got like leg and leg, shoulders, some of the chest crossing over. But
I realized that we forgot to talk about something entirely.
Well, I think just to put a pin on, or not put a lid on that to wrap it up. Just the lion's shield is the main thing it blocks, and it can has luring beam, which I found adorable because I kept thinking she was saying Lowly Beam when I heard it. If I wasn't looking at the subtitles, I'm like, nope, she's saying Lowly Beam. Hers and the powers of goth little girls. What did I miss though? We totally missed the witch. Like, why? Oh yeah,
is Dorothy going through all these trials?
Because she's kind of she's not also the wizard. She's
the quote unquote chosen one. Yeah, you know the whole thing with the Wicked Witch of the East getting
water.
No, the whole thing, the Wicked Witch of the East getting flattened by a house. There's no Wicked Witch of the East in this. That's just that plot's completely done. Pretty much, this is just a quest that she got from Glinda to go destroy this witch.
Go fuck up the witch.
Yeah, so Dorothy has no personal qualms that we know of.
No, she's like, I need to get the fuck out.
Yeah, so it's not like she killed somebody.
I have to get out of here. Yeah. She gets real like survivalist determined pretty quickly, and like.
And I guess you also forgot to mention that whenever she wants to summon any parts of the mecha, she has to click her heels and do the "There's no place like home."
Yeah, and then say the summon's name.
Yep. So that's why I said you're gonna hear that a lot.
Yeah, do you think that was part of the magic, or that's just like anime catchphrase transformation shit?
They kind of both.
Yeah, it doesn't really define.
Yeah, so they still have the monkeys. They're more like those monkeys that show up on Hot Springs, but they still fly around.
And baboony.
Just kind of like kendos them.
It's a lot of her fighting like masses of things I found in this series. Where she's like taking on all the munchkins, taking on like all Glinda's bubbles. Once she's past the Guardians, she's taking on like much bigger forces.
Yeah.
Like not so much like now you fight a dragon or now you fight a giant. She's fighting more like hordes of things. The wolves of the woods and such, and she's like having to go from like tree to tree to avoid them and stuff, and which then later the trees, that chuck apples at her that explode. They're fighting with them. Yeah, armies of monkeys are regular. The witch will like summon skeletons when she shows up to harass her. But yeah, once she
But yeah, she just goes on a bunch of random mini quests until we get up to the point of getting to Oz's giant Japanese castle.
And then she fights him, but he's not.
I guess let's talk about Oz.
Should we spoilery this, or like, should we just like
spoiler warning?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, if you want to, it's not Flight Torrents, it's Backdoor Torrent. That was this one, and it was hard to find even from that site because, again, it turns out fucking Azu is not the easiest word to search for.
Yeah,
because there's at least 2 or 3 other animes of it. But yeah, it's never dig deep enough. But yeah, we're gonna keep going to all the way through, I guess. Yeah, Oz itself. The Guardians can manifest there. The place is magical as shit. So she has some around the city adventure episode where they're doing their own thing, and she's kind of bonding with them.
Yeah, and they're having some kind of like traditional Japanese festival on the drums and all that.
Yeah, it was very. Oz in general has been much more Japanese meets European in places.
Yeah, they were having some kind of Bond festival, I think it's called. So
Bond festival. I don't know that one. Is that the drum thing?
Yeah.
Obvious, but
and then she finally gets to Oz's castle, and you know how it was in the original where he was behind a screen, and we got a similar thing here, except he looked kind of like a...
Timber?
Yeah, I guess that would be the best way to describe him.
He had the nose going on.
Yeah. And he had a leaf fan, and yeah, I guess Tengu would be the fair assessment.
He still had some magic, apparently, because he fought her, but he's like... And she's like, send me home. And he's like, fuck, I can't do that. I'm not that powerful.
Let's talk about their fight a little bit, though.
Alright.
So when he finally showed up outside of the screen, he was still the same as he was outside in the screen. So that was different from the movie.
Yeah, you didn't happen to see the Futurama where they made fun of the Wizard of Oz, did they?
No.
It was like a what-if episode thing, and they go to meet the great and powerful professor, and it's the professor's giant head, and he's like, behold, I am the professor, and they pull up the curtain, and it's still him, but his body is regular size, he happens to have a gigantic head.
Yeah.
And he's like, anyway, let's get this done.
But yeah, he pretty much looked exactly the same, and they just kind of had it out.
Yeah, he was very,
That's where we had a little bit of fan service, because the wind.
Fireballs, yeah.
Yeah.
Burning
Which
lightning.
was kind of jarring because we didn't have that throughout the whole series. I don't know why they tried to pull that in there.
I was kind of cool with it, not just because of titties, but like...
No, I didn't even see that. You just saw cleavage. Yeah.
Not even full titties, but just the fact that like she wasn't like bothered by it. Like she was kind of like, yeah, once in a while, like, oh shit, like. Dry my clothes out, fix my skirt. But early on, but she like didn't care at this point. I thought it was kind of a she's hardcore now kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess so. That's true. It's just weird.
You know, like when the who captured her,
and then of course Mr. Oz the Tengu had a nosebleed. Surprise, surprise!
Well, giant ass wizard Tengu nose.
Giant ass nosebleed.
But yeah, it like reminded me of when the Winkies catch her, the yellow versions of the Munchkins, and just bigger and burlier. They're kind of more ogres, so they're a goblin, and they just catch her. They surprise her, and they're all just sleeve and tie her up, and she kind of looks at them like they're like, "Oh, we'll eat your bones, and like make a pudding of your face," and she kind of like stares at him the whole time, like not giving a shit, just like as soon as this, I am going to kill you. All kind of expression on her face, like.
Yeah, she did not care at all.
Scared? Like, she's not even talking. This is weird. And like,
man, that was just I don't know. That's probably my least favorite part.
What, the wizard fight or
the Oz fight? Yeah.
Yeah. It dragged on a little bit. I thought he was like, I've got a million tricks, and like she kind of stabbed her way through all of them. Stabbed the lion's shield and body armored her way through. I guess worth mentioning too that the armor did have its steam jets that she mostly used to like rocket around.
Yeah, she could fly a little bit.
Bursts, yeah, like just rocket one way or the other. But yeah, she beats him, and he's just like, "Oh, I can't send you home. You need someone more powerful." And he's like, "It's the witch who can do that." And she's like, "Oh no, I gotta kung fu fight somebody else."
Not like that, but
that was her exact voice, I think. Yeah.
No.
No. She wouldn't say that many words at the same time at this point. Like,
Yeah, so then we end up going to the witch's castle, which looked pretty similar to the one in the show. They kind of
big and dark castle. What do you want? Like, there's not much.
Yeah, and they just kept that as is. And
I like the siege thing though.
What do you mean?
Where she's like, "All right, I'm getting everybody we got," and like,
all the Munchkin ninjas. You mean?
She basically goes to everyone she didn't like slaughter to the man, and like tells the wizard like, "Go get some buddies. We're fucking shit up," and like, he's around. She can manifest her guardians to go battle for her, and the trees are apple bombing crap, and
yeah, that was cool. I'll agree with you there.
The sea serpent like just kind of comes out of the moat and stuff. The gnomes were like just climbing out of the walls as pieces of the walls because it made of rock. Which I think was only in the sequels, but yeah, they were a thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Rock people, basically. Again, in the RPG, a road trip I did, they were around. But yeah, and she just like goes in, stomping ass herself, and she pulls the Guardians back in for a final showdown.
Yeah. And yeah, then to get to the witch, she had to go through all the typical Indiana Jones-esque trials, like dodging a big ball, spikes,
traps, illusions, yeah.
The whole 9 yards. That was at least an episode.
Yeah, then it was like, so you're here, credits. And like,
yeah. And then the big fight. Which is pretty cool. Yeah. A little bit anticlimactic, but...
It was short, but I guess they had to fit that and the closing stuff into the episode.
Yeah. It was
like,
pretty much witch powers versus kendo powers.
Which gets pretty hard. My favorite part is when she becomes the castle. Like, this is my realm. I don't become it kind of crap. And like, starts
typical bad guy inflating themselves.
Final form and final fantasy boss.
And Dorothy pretty much has to just samurai sword it to pieces.
Yeah, they basically fight the castle while she's climbing it.
Yeah, it was
just like
cool.
running up the arm, like and like lion beam through a wall, like jump up a tower about kicking off the walls while the wall was punching at her. It seemed like she had an easier time with that than the wizard, in a way.
Yeah, true, because she didn't really... It was just mostly dodging magic, and then the witch gave up and turned in the castle, and it was pretty much just slicing up the castle, so...
Which is then kind of... Felt like that could have been replaced or fused with the traps part, I thought.
Yeah, true. They probably just... The traps were probably just filler.
Little thing. They didn't have the animation done for the episodes. They had to kind of cram them together. Kind of got that feel.
Yeah, that's true. And then that gets wrapped up and the witch drops her magic wand. So technically, I guess if Dorothy wanted, she could have become a magical girl, but she pretty much just snapped it in half.
Yeah, it could have been the new witch or whatever. Do you think the wizard or Glinda were planning that for her? Like, they wanted her to be the witch, or you don't think anybody really gave a shit?
No, I think Glinda was trying to get her to be... That's what I think they purposely left out the Witch of the East so that Dorothy would become the Witch of the East.
So, you thought she was going to just take the witch's power and be a third witch? Or... Because they always said there's a good witch and a bad witch.
Yeah, we don't know what's... Well, I guess Wicked details that, but... Yeah, I just kind of figured she just... There'd be no Witch of the West, and there'd just be Witch of the East instead.
They also kind of call her Wicked. Like, her name was Wicked the Witch. Like,
yeah, true.
But, which, yeah, still evil. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what anyone's plan exactly was, because she kind of wanted to go there herself. I don't know if anyone was counting on her to do anything.
Or maybe Glinda just wanted her gone so that she would move up in hierarchy. I don't know.
Yeah, that was kind of my main guess, was that she's like, oh... She kills a bad witch. Good witches forever. Good for everybody. Good 1,000 times.com. Rick and Morty. But
yeah, so then we go back. All the ninjas are happily celebrating and
pulling the
throwing shurikens everywhere, and
which is weird. I'm like, this is something to celebrate. This is no law. This is ninja law.
And Glinda waves her magic wand and asks if Dorothy does want to become a magical girl, and Dorothy pretty much shook her head.
It was weird to call her magical girl, not a witch, was the thing. Like,
Well, Dorothy isn't a woman.
I mean, they call like still like you could be a girl witch like Hermione.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, I mean they kind of use the words interchangeably. But every once in a while, they kind of like almost like someone forgot the other one just word wise.
Yeah, pretty much. So, and then they all cheer, and she's like, nope. And then she points to her shoes, and she's like, I want to go home. And Glinda's kind of like, you know what to say. And she waves her wand at her
she
shoes.
uses the magic, and she uses all her magic, and doesn't even like have like the famous teary goodbye scene with her guardians.
Yeah, they kind of
have, like, a manly nod kind of thing going.
They all kind of, once the magic's going, they all kind of just fall off of her and stand by Glinda, and they all acknowledge her.
There's like the shield comes off, and the lion is like lands and gives her a nod, and then Woodsman just poofs some steam at her and rockets off, and Raggedy Andy straw just like flops, like falls out. And gets back up and just gives her a manly nod.
Yeah. And we just kind of...
That gets her to smile for like the first time in a long time.
And then they just got to cycle back to her hometown. And she comes back and her house turned into this huge mansion. And she goes up to her grandparents and asks what happened. She said all of a sudden they had all these rare fruits and vegetables that they sold to people, and their business flourished, and now they don't have to worry about paying off that other person. So I guess it was kind of Glinda's reward for her instead of becoming a magical girl.
And she's kind of like shrugs it off, but like, do you think this means she was missing for a while, or that Glinda like changed the past so they had?
I think it was kind of just changed.
Trees.
Yeah, I think it just kind of changed the present. Like, maybe, like, a couple hours went by and they didn't know, with the tsunami, what had happened to Dorothy.
Yeah, but my point being, like, they had magical fruits, or, or at least rare and crazy fruits that everyone was buying, like, they had to have grown those, is my point.
I don't know, maybe the grandparents thought, because of the tsunami, seeds came from some other strange land, I don't know.
Yeah, they got washed in from this exotic land, or maybe it's all zero, but...
Yeah, it's kind of ass-pull, but yeah.
The ending was a little cheap. It had kind of ups and downs, but those were the real... It was a little fillery in the middle.
Mm.
Well done. Like, it seemed like it acquired or accomplished everything each time, but it was... She's going to go to a crazy place and fight somebody and keep going to a crazy place because...
Yeah.
But yeah, the getting the Guardians was a giant, big real, like, procedure in itself, and,
yeah.
The whole ending siege arc for, like, 3 episodes.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Good animation. They got their fight animation.
And I'd say if you definitely like the Wizard of Oz movie or book, you'd like to check this out. If you can find them.
Yeah, or like those little girls with a katana, badass combat animation, kind of Kill Bill.
If you want like a good female protagonist, I'd say this is a safe bet because
she was real solid. Like,
yeah, there was no love interest or anything. She didn't really care about anybody except her grandparents.
She was like, "Don't get my fucking way, and I won't bother you." And like, here's some money, maybe, but here's some emerald bits or whatever. But yeah, like that's what I was saying, where I was like, she's giving you that fuck you look, and like she's getting like more hardcore. She's in this like fucked up place. Like they didn't say that; it just kind of happened. And you're like, oh yeah. It only kind of started happening when she had to beat Glinda, and she's like, oh, I get to go down this big old road, and she kind of like rips off part of her like part of apron or her backpack, like ties up like a scratch she's got, and like ties back her hair, and she's kind of fucking doing this, and like
kind of a Rambo.
Yeah, she's clearly like, let's get fucking practical now. Like,
yeah, I'd say it was probably our best one to date.
10 out of 10.
Not 10 out of 10, but
10 out of 10. Is what I'm saying. No, I'm 9. I would give it for sure. Like, it's real solid. Like, it's got a straight line. Like, you know where you're going.
Yeah, I mean, you know the basic story, but yeah, it has its differences. Just the last thing I would want to point out is I wonder if they would have kept in the Wicked Witch of the East, what they would have done with it. If they would have still killed her off, or if she would have been around.
I'm trying to remember if it did.
Because technically this takes place in the East, so that's why I was curious.
I'm trying to remember if she was the one in, like, the prequel books. or something. I forget. I don't think she was the one who had kidnapped the Queen of Oz and turned her into a boy.
If anybody knows that, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, I have a lot of secondhand trivia of Oz, and mostly people going like, "That didn't fucking happen," from like comparing to the movies.
Yeah, that's about the only other thing I had to say. What about you?
Again, like real solid. Like I like this idea. Like I was real like it was hard to find. It was kind of like referenced through.
Well, anything like before Crunchyroll and Funimation started to translate anime is kind of hard to find.
I wonder if
it wasn't released.
The Oz license might be why you can't really find it everywhere.
Yeah, I'm surprised it would probably do good on like Family Channel or something if they dubbed it in English.
Yeah, like what I was saying, like it didn't ever. Really
they would just have to cut out the fan service scenes, which would be easy enough.
Yeah, you could definitely trim down the wizard fight and filler a flashback or something. But yeah, like I was saying, it doesn't really get bloody at all. But she'll like chop a Winky in half, and it'll like turn into like green goo and just splash everywhere, kind of stuff.
Yeah, true.
She kind of like chopped like a fish, like like fish try to eat her in half once in a while. But the worst it really gets is like animal guts.
Yeah,
like
it's
Goku,
not too bad. It's
Goku
pretty
chopping
PG.
off a tail and cooking it of a dinosaur kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty PG.
13 in a stretch.
Yeah, definitely go watch it if you can find it. What was the place you found it again?
Backdoor Torrent.
Yep.
And I had to get through a link from like another series because like I couldn't find the Azu itself. It was really like in there. Even like backtracking, trying to search like, oh, like put Azu in here. Oh wait, there's fucking 6 different translations, different series, including like the actual Wizard of Oz movie with a Japanese name. And
yeah, that's where it got kind of confusing. So don't be surprised if it takes you a little while to find. But if you can find it, I would watch it.
In America, maybe that's why it hasn't gotten brought over.
But yeah, definitely check this one out.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's wraps it up, Paul.
It's a favorite character out of this. Favorite character out of all this, like, or scene. Like, yes, that's the best part of it. Best thing that came out of this.
I guess Dorothy would obviously be the favorite character.
That's what I was thinking. Just she's got layers, she changes, and
yeah, we actually got a decent female protagonist.
After like she got like her first guardian, she never had like a moment where she's like overwhelmed and she's flustered and everything.
I guess it would be like Princess Mononoke, but I have not seen that, so it's shame on me.
It's a bit of that, I guess. Like,
I gotta watch that.
The only ladies we have in it are pretty hardcore. Even like race bitch lady is like, come on, give me that fucking gun, I'll kill a god. Like shit gets done with females in Mononoke.
I think that needs to go on my watch list. I guess favorite scene would be I guess the siege on the castle where everybody was, and the ninjas were throwing the little shurikens and bombs, and
just be throwing shurikens, am I right?
Yeah.
Whether they're celebrating or they're killing somebody.
And the golems kind of had them on their shoulders when they were shooting stuff out, and the little gnomes were in their little tanks.
Mm-hmm. And they fuse into Gnome King as their big old one they try to fight Dorothy with.
Yeah, I'd have to say that's my favorite. You?
Yeah, the siege is definitely great. Probably tie with that and the 10-man fight. I just fucking like that guy's build, and we don't get to see him too much, relatively, because he's like floaty punch ghost, so we don't get his whole build. But yeah, he had like a lot going on with like gears and bolts and crap that like you could see kind of how he was built, and
yeah, true.
He had like the steam jets and the axe that came out of his arms and or his back, where they were like they rocketed up and he caught him. Like I'm sure there's some kind of transformer that does that, but I can't remember.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of Dexter.
That mech, yeah.
The finale of Dexter's Lab, he had swords that came out of his bag, I rocketed out, and I caught him. Yeah, unfolded a little bit.
Yeah, so definitely check this one out, guys, and let us know what you think in the comments section, which hopefully there will be.
Yeah, I'm sure if we almost any site, we'll post this on YouTube for sure.
Yeah, we're dating this. We still are recording at this time, so
backlog. We are still going to ask for comments despite it. We're going to get this up soon. We've got about enough of what I would consider our backlog we need now. This is our 5th, I think.
I think this is our 5th or 6th. I don't remember, but
I would say 5th or 4th, but we can figure that out off camera, I suppose. But
yeah.
cameras, because we're recording this for the live stream.
Yeah, so
we'll have some more. We'll be back next week.
See you guys. This is Angela.
This is Greg saying,
have a nice daydream.
Of anime. We did not plan this.
Goodbye.
The only thing we plan is Greg sweet scatting us out of it.
Yeah. Okay, bye.